Hello, everybody. This is Stu Smith, and we have Tom is back. He is my long buddy who has been uh, kicking cancer's ass. So I don't mean to share your medical history with the world, but just want to say, it's good to see you. Missed you. Glad you're doing well, and you know, we're rooting for you over
Thank
here.
you, pal.
So this is Fitness Report number 123. And we're going to talk about something that Tom has a lot of. And we're going to talk about mental toughness. And I always laugh about talking about mental toughness because it's not one of those things you're going to learn in a classroom. You're not going to learn it looking at some motivational picture, have some saying in your head that sometimes they help you, but I mean, true mental toughness is a little more complex, but you can also be like Jocko and just say, hey, just get tougher.
Yeah, just go do it. Right?
Just get tougher. I love that. I've written articles, I've written chapters in books. I haven't written a whole book on mental toughness yet, but I've written a lot on mental toughness. And then when I heard him say, yeah, you want to get mentally tough, just get tougher, and he's not wrong. It's like you got to get motivated to go do it. So let's start there, Tom. How you want to get this thing rolling?
Well,
You're the academic in the room, so
I don't know. Well, thank you, pal. One of the things, Stu, that I know for many, many years, and those who don't know, you and I've been friends for many, many years. You used to think of mental toughness, I think, much like you had about motivation, because there was a time when you and I were, much younger. You used to think, look, if you don't have motivation, it's my job's not to motivate you. And I almost think you felt that way a little bit about mental toughness. And I think your thought process has changed a little there about both of those subjects. Because I know now you write about motivation, which you never did before.
Yeah, well, I always think it all starts with motivation. I mean, there is something that when I was a young kid, that motivated me, and I wanted to be on the high school football team, right? Something motivated me to do that. I had to beg my parents to let me play. I was working out on my own, and then I got into eighth grade and started working out with this pre-high school football team group. And, so I wanted that. I was motivated to put on that jersey, on game day and walk around and be a football player. I wanted to do that. And my whole life, I was always motivated to do something. I was motivated to join the Navy. I was motivated to go become a SEAL. I was motivated to, write a book. I was motivated to all different kinds of things. But in the end, or I shouldn't say in the end, I would say there's a process where that motivation, but quite frankly, you're not motivated. There will be a day when you have low energy, and there'll be a day that, your motivation isn't necessarily what's going to get you through that day, right? There's something else. So I have written about it, and I've written about it, how motivation has to evolve over time, and has to evolve in such a way where your daily motivation gets you to start building good habits, right? And these good habits could be, it could also be getting rid of bad habits. That motivation can help you get rid of a bad habit and start building good habits. A lot of people will say, any successful goal, achievement is usually brought down to two habits. One you start and one you quit. Right. So you gotta get rid of the bad habits, start the good habits. Motivation's very good for that. But then you got to start building those habits. And with those habits, through persistence and time and consistency and not giving up and failing and coming back stronger, all those little things will start to help you become more disciplined. And I think it is the discipline that allows you to move on to the mental toughness. And I think once you've established this daily discipline. You're a more disciplined person, and not just fitness, but all areas of your life. It takes mental toughness can grow exponentially once you've evolved to that. So think of it kind of like a flat line with your motivation. Daily stuff, daily stuff, daily stuff, daily stuff. And then all of a sudden, you're not motivated anymore. You're disciplined. Now your mental toughness can kind of shoot through the roof. So,
yeah, it's an interesting problem. You wrote an article a while back and you recently republished it called 5 Steps to Building Mental Toughness. And you originally wrote that article because you had seen a number of things that had been written about the subject that you weren't quite sure that you completely felt comfortable with in defining mental toughness. So what were a few of those things, Stu?
That's a good question. I would say, mental toughness.
So it was really
it's
more
such a difficult. I'm sorry, it's such a difficult thing to kind of grasp around. What I think one of my favorite sayings, and I give Don Shipley credit to this one, is that I first heard him say it. I don't know if he made it up, but you got to get comfortable being uncomfortable.
Yeah.
And I think that is a great way to take your motivation, and start building that discipline. And then, through that, you're going to start building mental toughness every day, throughout this journey. One of my first ways to do it is every single day, I tell people that you can build mental toughness the first thing when that alarm goes off, at 5 a.m. or 4:30 if you're Jocko. And start your day, because there is not a time in your life when you're probably more comfortable than you are at between 4 and 5 a.m., in your bed, having slept most of the night, right? That's a hard transition to go from bed to standing up.
Yes,
It's like this little demon you have to fight in your head to say, you know what, don't hit snooze again. Go. You got to get up. Right? And, you're comfortable. You're under these covers. You got the fan going. It's cold when you lift the covers up. You're going to be uncomfortable when you start that process. It never fails. But every day you can build your mental toughness just by getting up early.
Yeah, you and I were talking about this a little bit earlier this morning, that for myself, it is, I know you're a 5 a.m. guy, I'm a 4:30 guy, that when I am in the discipline of getting up every day at 4:30, no matter what the situation, when I'm in that discipline, I have those hours between, then and 7 that I can't recapture any other time of the day. I mean, when I try to say, okay, well, look, I'm fundamentally a night owl, so maybe I can get them from 11 till 1. It just doesn't work.
Yeah, typically not very physical. I find that it's hard to be a physical animal at 11 o'clock at night. I mean, you can do it, especially if you want to stay up the rest of the night. It's a good way to stay up later. But I find that early morning time, not only is it a great time to just get up and get moving, get your day started with some physical activity, but when I get done with that and I eat a little bit of food and start fueling myself up, I am probably the most productive of my day between that time and noon. I could typically get most of my work done in a day that I need to get done by noon. And if I'm working on a new project or something, I can, keep going the rest of the day. But, as far as what I do every day, I can get it done early. And I'm probably most productive until noon. After lunch, I got to force myself to, push to work a little longer, a little bit. But anyway, I agree with you 100%. If you can get used to that process, not only will, you be challenging that little quit demon inside your head of, no, stay in bed, no need to get up and do anything, hit snooze 10 more times, right? Or whatever, and keep keep the process alive. And I find you just grow better. It's almost like I just find that I grow much better between 5 a.m. and noon. Like there's
Yeah.
not a segment of the day that is more productive for me. Like if I try noon to 7, or even worse, getting a second workout in the day, or maybe I missed my morning workout for whatever reason, I'm trying to squeeze it in between 5 and 7 in the PM. I mean, everything conflicts, right?
Yeah.
At 5 a.m.,
Yeah.
it's like the deconfliction time. There's no conflicts in your life typically, other than just you wanting to go back to sleep.
Yeah. So in this particular case, Stu, I know a lot of the folks that follow your work are first responders and others that perhaps don't have that schedule, the normal schedule that
Right.
most people like to follow. So how do you, and I know you've talked about this a number of times, but let's go back through it again. How do you fit this, this same concept into somebody that works second or third shift? What would your recommendation be because for us that, the uncomfortableness for me has to be before 5 a.m. because 5 a.m. to me, after 5 a.m., it's not that uncomfortable for me
Right.
to get myself up, right? I don't know why, but it is. So that I force myself, and for a while I was doing 4:45, but you know what, 4:30, that's uncomfortable I could just say it's uncomfortable as hell. So, I just do it. Now, today wasn't so bad. I'm on the West Coast. You're on the East Coast. It's 5 a.m. right now. No, I guess it's 6, isn't it? Not bad. Not bad.
It's easy for me. It's 9 a.m.
Yeah, it's an easy day.
Day for me, so.
No, but getting back to the second and third shifters, how would you recommend that same sense of being uncomfortable?
That's a good one. You know what? I would say this, anytime that I was doing night shift stuff,
Mm-hmm.
I always just flipped my day around, right? So, I still ate breakfast, lunch, and dinner.
Right.
They were just flipped around, so there was a regular eating cycle, because that can get screwed up. It's real easy to miss, a meal at midnight, when you don't think it's lunch, in your day, and the rest of the night, it's awful.
Yeah.
Right. Because you just don't have that fuel. But I also start, if I'm going on at 10 p.m. or whatever, I make sure I get a great workout between 7 and 9.
Okay.
At some time. It doesn't have to be a 2-hour workout, just, something in that period, maybe even closer to 9:30, then you go right to work. We were pretty blessed where we were, is just, you just worked out and then you were at work working out, and you just started, right at 10. So, but that wakes you up, that will get you going when you're naturally starting to come down, because, it's time to go to bed, right? Typically, right? But if you're going to stay up all night, I always found that was the perfect time to do it. And it's probably not going to be your best performances, if you're used to doing day workouts or early morning workouts. But I will tell you this, it is a really good way to stay awake. And then if you need some caffeine, obviously that will help too. But mainly it's get your workout done, get the blood flowing, get that metabolism up a little bit, and that will stay up for several more hours. And then, supplement it with some fuel, good foods, nothing high sugar content, because that's going to make you crash. And then, some form of caffeine if you need it on the back end. But best thing to do, if you're going to be going to bed at 8 a.m. in the morning, is try to lay off the caffeine, after 3 a.m., because that makes it fairly difficult to really get a good night's sleep. So, as far as the mental toughness side of that, staying up all night is just tough. It is uncomfortable even when you're used to it. So you get that weird feeling in your throat, and, it's just, but eventually you get used to it, and it's not that big a deal. So my brother-in-law is a bartender, bar owner, and he is nocturnal. Yeah, I cannot talk to him before, I don't know, 3 p.m. He's like 3 p.m. to 6 a.m. Right? It's just, he's like a vampire. But that's his life. He's used to it by now. So anyway, you can get used to it. Switching back and forth is probably even more challenging, and a lot of those shift works tend to go back and forth a lot. So yeah, that's a tough job, man.
Yeah,
Give him credit.
it's very difficult, and that in itself, as you said, is hard enough. But the principle that you're talking about here is it's probably better to work out it before, and then make sure that you eat on a regular schedule. Because that in itself is going to help you in as much as anything.
Yep, absolutely.
So you also had a concept of trying something new, Stu.
Yeah, you know what? If you can, try something new that makes you uncomfortable, whether that's new places, meeting new people, doing new things. If you haven't gone to school in a while, take a course,
Mm-hmm.
right? Take a language course, take an EMT course, something you're interested in. Do it. It's just one of those things that kind of takes you out of that comfort zone. And you'll find that, it can, when we talk about mental toughness, it's also helps you build just personal confidence, which I also think is a big component of mental toughness, because if you don't have that personal confidence in, hey, if I want to do this, damn it, I'm going to do it. And, and then you go do it. And then you just get a little bit stronger on the back end of that. And you picked up some new knowledge, or met somebody new that, is going to be a big factor of your life. Trying something new is a big one, I think. And it's, it's not really talked about a lot in this world, I think, but it's one of those things that can challenge you and challenge your comfort zone, getting out of your comfort zone. Definitely.
Yeah, I think it's really important. I find, because I'm a fundamentally introverted, so I don't like to go to parties. And I mean, I know you know this. I don't like social things. That being said, when I do have to go to those things for some reason, right? There's some reason, you don't have to do anything. Right?
Yeah.
Right. But when it's probably better that you do it.
Right.
I find if I just say to myself something like this, that, you know what, I'm going to treat it as something that's going to get me into a place I'm not comfortable with, but I'm going to see if invariably, Stu, when I am on the way back, I say, you know what, I'm actually glad I did that.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Half the battle's
rare.
hey, look, man, half the battle's just getting out of the house.
Yeah.
Once you're out of the house,
I know. Well, you and I tend to share that concept, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, but there's something to that, and this probably applies more to people who are like me, who are, not particularly social, because social people they generally, those that are more social than others don't generally have a problem with this. But I
Right.
completely agree with you. I think this concept of trying something new and putting you in that. So I have to tell you a funny story. So when was it? A couple semesters ago, I had some really, really outstanding master's degree students at Columbia. And this one fellow from the UK, who's Indian by heritage, is a great guy. We were one of the things we were trying to do is to this very subject is that one of the ways that you can continue to keep yourself, and you and I talked about this too, keep yourself mentally vital, is by doing something new. And you talked about it a minute ago with attending a class or so. So one of the processes I asked them to go through was to identify something like that, and then to practice it for a week, and then come back and report out on, did it help in their ability to become more creative in business. So this one guy, so Sagar says that his challenge was getting up before noon.
Wow.
It was the crack of noon, man. He was gonna force himself, and he just so the perspective, and this is a full-time student, right? So somebody that doesn't have to that's not working all night because they want, but he just, because what was interesting there was he stayed on UK time, Stu.
Ah,
So he
okay.
preferred to stay on UK time
I
so he
got
could talk to his friends on Skype, study all night long,
you.
go
Right.
to bed, and then get up at noon.
Huh.
So it's pretty interesting.
Yeah.
And he said it, it worked for him.
Oh, that's cool.
But I think this trying something new is good. One of the things that you like too, though, is you like, we talked about at the beginning of this, is moving toward a goal. And I think there are two pieces to this. One is actually being goal oriented, but the other one is constantly moving.
Yes. Yeah. Don't let the grass grow under your
Yeah.
feet. You know. Yeah. Just keep one foot in front of the other, and whatever that goal is, there's got to be some kind of direction towards moving to it. Even if you are not specifically working on it,
Mm-hmm.
there might be a little portion in the back of your head that's always turned on, and you're kind of working on it. I find that I do a lot of projects that way, and it's somewhat annoying to some people around me because they can see that I'm off, right? I'm not
You're
necessarily
not, you're
not
off in the
necessarily
distance, dude.
yeah,
Not off.
not necessarily present, you
Yes.
know. And my wife notices it immediately. She'll just say, "What are you thinking about? Are you listening?" Yeah, So first she'll ask me if I'm hungry, and then she'll say, "What project are you working on?" So
Well, but this concept of constantly moving, I mean, this goes way, way back to stuff that you and I were trained in many, many years ago, right? Is that you're safer moving than being stuck.
oh
Um,
sure, yeah,
but but I think that concept really does apply to your life in general. Is that if you're always moving forward, if you're not sitting there surrendering to time, that you're in a better position. And it's tough not to at times surrender to time, right?
yeah.
Just to say, you know what, I'm going to just stop for a while. I'm going
And there's
to,
nothing wrong with that. You need to have some recovery time. Obviously, you can't be a machine and just go all the time. You go to sleep. You need some recovery time and some physical activity. Some do something social outside the box. Whatever that is. But you know a good section of your day needs to be focused on moving towards that goal.
well,
Otherwise,
one
it's
thing
not going to
that
happen.
you you've put into my process for a while now is giving yourself permission to have that recovery, whether it's a recovery day or whatever. Giving yourself permission to do that is important. Like it's a day or 2 days, or if you're supposed to have a workout day and your body doesn't feel like it should be doing that, make it a mobility day. So
Oh yeah,
give yourself that permission
yeah.
um, to do that. But it doesn't mean just do nothing. It means see if you can still do a little something to move yourself forward.
Yep, absolutely. And those mobility days are priceless.
Boy, they are really good.
Man,
I'll tell you, I think they are just, I've had, I will say giving yourself that permission to do a mobility day when you feel you need to is really a good thing.
in
So
fact,
one of the aspects,
real quick, I don't mean to hold you up on this next topic, but I was asked the other day, what do I think my best workout is that I've ever created? And I've created very many, in different
yeah.
types. And I said, you know what? I have to be honest with you. My mobility day has been life changing, especially between 40 and 50 years old. I've seen the most benefit out of that. But I've also been teaching my 20-year-olds the exact same thing. That are preparing for spec ops, and throwing a mobility day and Wednesday and Thursday just makes their training on Thursday, Friday, Saturday so much better. As opposed to just feeling crappy after 5 days of 2-hour workouts and maybe even a couple of 2-a-days thrown in there. Giving himself an easy day in the middle of the week just produces better results on the back end of that week. So yes, I have to give it that one. That's my number one.
That's really good. I like that. I like that. That's your best workout so far. Because
Yeah.
I'm going to guess, Stu, if I were, you have to have built tens of thousands of workouts.
It's up there. I mean,
You have to
it
have.
is definitely up there. I mean, just these books alone here, the old Warrior Workout. I
Yeah.
mean, these are 100. I have 3 volumes of this, and they're 100 workouts. Number 41, right? So that's 300 workouts, and you know what they are? They're these damn things laying around my house.
Yeah. I love those things.
How big that is. Man, that thing's huge. That takes you all day to do, right? So, yeah, some of these are a lot of fun. So, anyway, I turned all my workout cards that we do here locally into this Warrior Workout book. So,
yeah, those. And by the way, for those who haven't tried those workouts, they're brutal, but they're very good. They're really fun. I told you my son uses them periodically when he'll just pick up the book and grab one and do it.
Yeah, it's good.
Because they're really good anecdotally like that. Because of the way you've got them organized in the book.
Yeah, they're great for like a la carte version of working out. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
So another thing that you talk about is getting cold, wet, and sandy.
Hey, you know what? When I say getting uncomfortable, I mean literally getting.
Yeah, well, that's a pretty uncomfortable way to be.
Yes. Yeah. So I mean, if you're preparing for military special ops, I mean, just realize you are going to be cold, wet, sandy, hot, humid, underwater. Climbing towers and skydiving and muddy and heavy stuff on your back. I mean, it gets very uncomfortable. And not that you necessarily have to try to thrive in that situation, during your preparation, but, it doesn't hurt, to, get a taste of, what's it like to run in wet pants. Right. Or what's it like to do flutter kicks in wet pants and soggy boots? I will say this, that was a shocker to me. I did, thousands of flutter kicks before Buds, but then, those first few wet and sandy days of doing flutter kicks, I'm like, oh man, this really kind of sucks. I probably should have done some weighted flutter kicks.
Those boots get a little heavy when they're wet.
It's like you had to dip into that mental toughness just to get through some of those little PT sessions. So yeah,
there's no doubt about that. I mean, one of the benefits of working out with boots is that very thing, because man, I tell you, those ab exercises, they get a lot harder with boots on, and when the boots and you have pants on and the pants and the boots are wet,
yes,
it's even worse, man.
Yeah, and then you get sand in there, and everything.
I was going to say, then you add the sand.
It starts grating on you. Yeah,
I know. It's the thing that you said to me one time, and it's absolutely true, that after that, getting in the water is actually some form of relief.
Oh, absolutely.
And then you push the envelope. One of the points about this, though, that's very interesting is that when you get to the point where you start using this as a way to not prove anything, but to let me just say it outright. So I'm out in Arizona. I'm in Scottsdale right now, and it's the middle of the summer, right? So the day is at least 100 degrees, more likely over that. And this time of year, in the month of August, it's the monsoon season. So instead of having single-digit humidities, which are usually 5, 8, 9%, it's about 30%, which doesn't sound like anything for the East Coast, right?
I was running at 96% yesterday.
Right, I know. But let me tell you something. Out here, though, 32% and 105 or 110 degrees feels, like 95, 95. But that is my favorite time to go hiking out here on the mountains, is at between 2 and 4 in the afternoon in those kind of temperatures. And then I like to do the old-fashioned Spartan workouts. I know I like that.
Oh yeah.
So I go fully clothed because of the skin cancer, right? But I wear the tactical gloves, and then I get down, I do push-ups, or I do iron mics, depending on whether it's a
I like it,
leg day or an upper body day. And I got to tell you, man, when you're out there, the other day I was out hiking, and it was my upper body day. So after I worked out, I went out to do a hike for about an hour, and I was dropping down and doing push-ups. And so, and then the more disciplined I get, I do the old formal drop down, do the push-up, come back and up. So I dropped down, and this guy looked at me and said, "Hey man, are you okay?" He thought I was absolutely nuts for dropping to
Oh
the
yeah.
ground.
Oh yeah. I mean, if you're going to do these kind of workouts, people are going to think you're crazy.
They do think you're crazy.
Yeah. I do them in the weight room. People think I'm crazy in the weight room. People think I'm crazy in the pool. We're hopping out of the pool doing push-ups.
Yeah.
Flutter kicks out. Anyway, yeah.
Yeah, but I tell
Agreed.
you, when you can get into that position of trying to find the, like you were just saying here, find a way to make it harder. Not harder. Find a way to make it more challenging. Whether that's, if you're by a pool doing this stuff, jump in the pool, get yourself wet, and then do your workout. Those kind of things make a big difference. They really do. Yeah. The other thing too, and I don't want to give people too much of an excuse, but if you're having difficulty because your body is not, so let me say it differently. You're trying to do the 4:30 in the morning workout at 5, or the 5 in the morning workout at 5:30. If you're having trouble doing that, jump in the shower when you get up.
Yeah, that'll wake you up.
I know it does. It's a little bit of a benefit that it will warm up your muscles. It'll get you awakened. Yeah. Warm your muscles up a little bit.
It increases circulation. Absolutely.
Yeah. I mean, it is a little bit of a, like taking caffeine to stay awake, but if it will get you over the hump, try that if you're really struggling with that, because that helps me at times when I'm stiff from the day before or whatever. That's a way of warming up, loosening up, and then I can get going easier.
Love it. That's great advice. Great advice.
So you told a story in here. We can end with this, Stu. Yeah. You told the story about the third or fourth day of Hell Week and the, you're midway through and they let you sleep for a few minutes in a
Yeah, they only let you sleep if you win. And it just happened to have a really good boat crew that
in the IBS.
We were kicking ass paddling, and it was around the world paddle, which is all the way around Coronado. So I think it takes 8 or 10 hours to go around it. It's pretty long. You start at midnight and you might see the sun come up, whenever you get back. But anyway, it's a long night of paddling, and we won it. And so, we were at least an hour, maybe hour and a half ahead of the next few boat crews that came in. And so we just kind of dug a hole and we all spooned together, and they flipped the boat right on top of us, and while we were waiting on everybody else, we were snuggled up, 6, 7 guys, and, spooning together and with a boat on top of us. And I remember thinking, I don't think I've ever been more comfortable in all my life. Right? This is so nice. Right? And that's what I kind of realized. I've kind of reverted back to that caveman mode. Mm-hmm. Right? And if you can find comfort in the strangest of situations, you're on your way, if that makes any sense.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
absolutely. Well, it just gets back to what you said, Don Shipley, who I don't know, but sounds like a really interesting guy. The comment he made about get comfortable being uncomfortable. And you made that statement right after he said that to you. You told me that, and this years ago. And it resonates with me in such a way, getting comfortable being uncomfortable.
I mean, it is the magic trick. If you want to define mental toughness, I would say that is a great phrase to do it. If there's such a way to define it. Another form I've heard too is a little bit different, more on the action side of mental toughness, is finding the fuel when the tank is empty.
Yeah.
So that is a a way to somehow, and there's other guys. I think Goggins talks about when you think that you are completely done, 100% wiped out, you actually still have 40% left in the tank. That's what he says.
There you go.
So, which I do agree. There is a moment when, through your training and through all this, is that you soon realize that your body is 10 times stronger than your brain will let it be.
Here's an example. I was out with somebody yesterday. We were doing the hike and push-up routine in the desert. First time out, they couldn't do 10 push-ups when we dropped down the first time. All they got was 7. Next time, 10. Next time, 10. Next time, 10. Next time, 10.
Okay.
It's that, and you and I have talked about this before. Early on, sometimes your mind plays games with you that you can break through.
Oh, yeah.
And, and this is also part of the mental toughness. Just keep at it, keep moving, keep trying. And a lot of times you can do better than you did, and then you can sustain it.
Yeah.
So,
it's all part of growth. I think there is a physiology of growth and training that is going to allow you to get to certain levels. But then there's also mental growth that occurs during that process, and it really you really kind of see it in the form of confidence more than anything else.
Yeah.
But that confidence allows you to say, hey, I got this, right? And that's half of winning, is you having that little confidence of saying, I'm ready to do. And then you keep moving, and, even if you fail, you regroup and you come back stronger. That is what mental toughness is right there.
No doubt, pal. No doubt. So this is Tactical Fitness Report with Stu Smith, number 123.
Yeah. Good to have you back, my friend.
Good to be back, pal. Good to be back.
All right. Well, thanks a lot. This is a tough one to discuss. And, it's not a very, believe it or not, it's not a very sexy topic. You would think that mental toughness would be, we got to go listen to what they're talking about on mental toughness. It's almost best taught, when you are uncomfortable.
Yeah.
It's hard to teach it in a podcast or a poster or a book even. You're not going to read it and get mentally tough.
No.
You got to go out and do it. Yeah.
You are not, but you certainly gave people plenty of ways to try to start, Stu.
Yeah, man. Just get moving.
It's good to see you, pal.
All right. Thanks, everybody. We'll see you later.
Later.